And we are back in class again today. I want to welcome you again to my class. Glad you could all be here. We are going to have a review of everything we've learned in the last two lessons. I'm going to go the last assignment sheet that you should have turned in by now. I will be looking over that and checking your work here soon. But since today's lesson involves part of that assignment sheet from last time, we'll just forgo going over the answers. So for now, it should be a short and sweet lesson with an assignment at the end so that you can get comfortable for review for your quiz. The next time we meet, you will be given a quiz worksheet to do, and then you'll complete that and turn it in for a grade. So let's be forewarned, but let's be excited about the good work that you're already doing as we multiply monomials times polynomials. So the last time we worked on things, we worked on polynomials, that is monomials times binomial and trinomial. But today you'll see in the review, if you bring up your assignment sheet, you'll notice that it's numbered from 1 and not through 10. But it'll be numbered from 1 through 20. So obviously, off of that worksheet that you're looking at, that assignment sheet right now, we'll go through numbers 1 through 10, and then you'll finish that and submit it for your assignment work. So let's start again from review. Remember that whenever we're doing monomials, you're just taking each part, each like part, like the coefficient, the -4, the +2, and you multiply that first. And I think if you're doing it already, you can work on these ahead of time or ahead of me as we work. But when I give you the answer, if you make a mistake, let's go back and stop and see what I showed you. So -4 times +2 is -8. We're done the coefficient part, aren't we? Then we go to the variable part, x to the 3rd times x to the 7th. And remember, the short way to do it is just add your two exponents and come up with x to the what? That's correct, x to the 10th, correct? Now let's go on to number 3. Of course, in your assignment sheet, you're always going to have number 1 as named, so you'll all get that one correct, I hope. All right, so on this one, coefficient 9 times 3 is 27. And then x squared times x to the 3rd, is it x to the 6th? Uh-oh, what did you do wrong if you put that? You didn't add the two exponents, you multiplied. So see that? I'm setting you up and seeing if you're doing it correct. Most of you probably already put down 27x to the 5th. So good work. Just be careful of these easy to make errors. -4 times +3. Go ahead, you probably already have it. I hope you're remembering integer rules as well. Negatives times positives, then x to the 2nd, x to the 10th is what? X to the 12th, correct? You're doing so well. And let's finish up with the last of the monomial times monomial. Very easy by now. You have 63. X squared times x to the 3rd is x to the 5th. And then y to the 5th times y, and we automatically, any variable without a number exponent is automatically to the 1st power. So y to the 5th times y to the 5th is not y to the 5th, it is y to the, exactly right, y to the 6th. Thank you for the good work. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Now, if you remember, when we multiply monomial times binomial, or monomial times trinomial, we have to do each part. We also have to put in the operational sign for each part. So if we're beginning and the first one is a positive, you don't have to put a positive to identify a number as positive if it's by itself. So let's look at this one. You've already probably finished that one. 2 times 2n is what? 4n, since there's no other variable. And then here, now remember, we're going to have a second part, so we have to have the operation or value sign. 2 times positive 3 is positive what? 6. Now, I've had students in the past do this. They'll put down this, 4n 6. That makes absolutely no sense. It is not a binomial until you put the operational sign of adding or subtracting. To me, that looks like you're multiplying 4 times n times 6, and 24n is not what we're looking for. I'm sorry, you have to have an operational sign to make that a legitimate answer. So don't forget, on the second or third part, you must always show that operational negative or positive sign. So the next one, maybe some of you have already done all of these. These are pretty simple once you get the knack of what you're doing. We have 25n, correct, for the first part. Now the second part, don't forget what operational sign is 5 times negative 2. You better have negative. Don't forget integer rules are important now. And 5 times 2 is 10. And look at that. Pretty easy. Now here you're going to have 3 parts in your answer with 2 operational signs. So let's start them one at a time. This one times this is 20. And don't forget, that's always going to be what exponent? Well, if you have trouble remembering, if it's by itself, why don't you just always put a 1 next to it and you won't forget to add it? n1, n2 is n3, and then 4. Now let's go to the second part. Are we done the first part? 20n to the cubed? Okay. Now, minus what goes here? Thank you. Okay, 4 times 7 is 28, and n1 times n1 is n what? Beautiful, you did it correctly that time, didn't you? Now, 4n to the first, operational sign, don't do this, wrong. Let's do the correct integer rule. 4 times 3 is 12, and n by itself stays there. Do we have to put the 1 on it if it appears that way? No, I would prefer you just leave it 12n, not 12n to the first. Last 2. Real quick, you ready? 21, r squared is r4. Second one, minus, right? All right, let's see. 2 times 2 is 14. R squared times r is r cubed. And then 7 times negative 5, negative 35. And let's see, r squared stays the same. Any question about that? Last one, we go back to the binomial times monomial. There we go, 24. A to the third, right? And then we have 3 times up. Did you forget that if you have a variable by itself, what is the invisible coefficient number? It's not 0. Who said 1? Okay, you're right, 1. So 3 times 1, and that's a plus. So we have to have 3 times the 1 variable, 3. And then a squared times b squared can only be written that way since there are no other variables. Any question on that? All right, take time to review that again if you need, and then go ahead on the assignment sheet and complete numbers 11 through 20. Turn that in, and we'll go over the final review for the quiz on the next lesson. Thank you, and have a great week.